Rainbows are visions, but only illusions, and rainbows have nothing to hide. So we've been told, and some choose to believe it. I know they're wrong, wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.
And who says that every wish will be heard and answered and wished on a morning star? Somebody thought of that, and someone believed it, and look what it's done so far, so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? And what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of us under its spell, we know that it's probably magic. Have you been half asleep? And have you heard voices? I've heard them calling my name. Is this the sweet sound that calls the young sailors? The voice might be one and the same. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. Something that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. La da da dee da da dum, da 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 dee da do.
Woke up to the morning sky first, baby blue just like we rehearsed. When I get up off this ground, I shake the leaves back down to the brown, brown, brown till I'm clean. Then I walk where I'd be shaded by the trees, by a meadow of green, for about a mile. I'm headed to town, town, town in style, with all my favorite colors, all my favorite colors. My sisters and my brothers see 'em like no other, all my favorite colors. It's a good day to be, a good day for me, a good day to see my favorite colors, colors. My sisters and my brothers, they see 'em like no other, all my favorite colors. Now take take me to the other side. Little bitty bluebird flies. Gray clouds, the white walls, the blue skies. We gon' fly, feel alright. And we gon' ooh, 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 yeah. It sound like ooh, 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 ooh. At least I can say I anticipate a homecoming parade as we renegade in the morning with all my favorite colors, all my favorite colors. My sisters and my brothers, see 'em like no other, all my favorite colors. It's a good day to be all my favorite colors, all my favorite colors. My sisters and my brothers, see 'em like no other, all my favorite colors. It's a good day to be, a good day for me, a good day to see my favorite colors. Colors. My sisters and my brothers, they see 'em like no other, all my favorite colors.
When I am older, losing my hair, many years from now, will you still be sending me a valentine, birthday greetings, bottle of wine? If I've been out till 2:45, would you lock the door? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? You'll be older too. And if you say the word, I could stay with you. I could be handy, lending a fuse when your lights have gone. You could knit a sweater by the fireside, Sunday morning go for a ride, digging a garden, digging the weeds. Who could ask for more? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? We shall scrimp and save our children on your knee. Vera, Chuck, and Dave. Drop me a line stating point of view. Indicate precisely what you mean to say. You're sincerely wasting away. Filling a form.
mine forevermore. Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
Thank you, Heretics and River. Good morning, and welcome to the Greenville Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. My name is Garnet Conaway, and I serve this congregation as your board secretary. Now, whether you've been with us on Sundays for a long time or are visiting us for the first time today, we welcome you to our service. This congregation is a theologically diverse religious community with participation open to all who agree to live into our principles, mission, and values. We are a welcoming congregation to people of all sexual orientations, gender identities, races, ethnicities, and abilities, and we unconditionally welcome you as your full, authentic self to this community of caring and commitment to grow as spiritual and moral beings. Our congregational mission is to strengthen our connections to one another and to our planet by enlivening minds and spirits, building community through liberating love, and advocating fiercely for justice. It is a custom in our congregation to acknowledge visitors and newcomers. And so if it's your first time here, would you mind raising your hand so we can acknowledge you? Thank you. Welcome. So glad you could be with us today. So we have a gathering for coffee hour after the service. Typically, if you're interested, just follow the crowd down the hall. And new and newer folks are invited to grab a green mug. They're located right inside the fellowship hall on the right, so we can spot you and talk with you if that is your desire. Also, you're welcome to fill out one of the green cards in the pew in front of you so that we can keep in touch. Simply drop the card in the offering basket or in the box at the welcome table in the foyer. Please know that whatever your religious history, whatever your personal theology, all people of goodwill are welcome here. Your presence makes us better. Your presence makes us whole. Our service will now begin.
For our chalice lighting today, I would like to share with you part of our congregational covenant, which describes the commitments we make to each other. We listen deeply and support each other through both joy and struggle, recognizing that we all have moments of celebration and hardship.
Thank you, Dionysia. Our call to worship today is to consider laughter as a gift. This is a reading by Steve Goodyear, who is an author and Methodist minister. Laughter is the sound of the soul dancing. It can be thought of as a form of internal jogging. It moves your internal organs around. It enhances respiration. It's an igniter of great expectations. So if you see or hear laughter around you, let it move you to join in. Do not wait. Jump into the middle of it. Be a part of it. Dance, sing, shout, experience the joy and the thrill of laughter. It is a natural medicine for the soul, a pathway to peace and harmony, a means to connect with others, and a reminder that joy and goodness do prevail in this world.
Good morning. I'm David Funderburk. I'm the Director of Religious Education here at Goof. And our story today this is one of those days I don't really have a story, but I have something for you. But after that, any children or youth, K through 12, who would like to come downstairs with me for religious education activities today, we'll go all the way down the hall and down the stairs to downstairs. So parents, if you want to pick your kids up, please pick your kids up after the service is over. I don't want to be on a search for missing people at the end of the day. You'll go all the way down the hall and down the stairs, and there's also a service elevator in the hallway if you need one. So I want to welcome any children or youth or anyone of any age who'd like to come up close to hear today's story. Please join me. Hello. Well, I don't know about you, but my favorite parts of worship are often the parts of worship where we do something all together, where we sing together, or where we all say words together. But one of my favorites is when we all laugh together. So today, I want to give us a chance to laugh together. So, because as was mentioned earlier, laughter has health benefits. Just from laughing, it raises your heart rate and your blood pressure, but then calms it down. It increases your ability to absorb oxygen and activates your organs, and it can just reduce stress overall. So in the spirit of doing something all together, I want to start by telling some jokes together. Can we tell some jokes together? Are y'all familiar with this thing called a knock-knock joke? It seems like that's a good form of a joke that we can all tell together. So let's try that out. Knock, knock. Let us. Let us all tell some knock-knock jokes together. Knock, knock. Tank. Oh, you're welcome. Let's try another one, though. Knock, knock. Olive. Oh, I love you too. Thank you. That's really sweet of you to say. But wait, one more. Knock, knock. Orange. Aren't you wondering where I'm going with this? So I wish I had some better jokes for you today. I know some of these are groaners. But the thing I really want to share with you all is the fact that you don't need a joke to laugh. In fact, if you just laugh for the sake of laughing, it can give you all those same health benefits. So I want us to think for a moment what it means, what is actually happening when you laugh. So have you heard of the diaphragm? It's a muscle down here that's attached to the bottom of your lungs. Do you know about the diaphragm? That muscle pulls your lungs down like a balloon and then pushes them back up to make air come in and out of your lungs. And if you practice moving your diaphragm, sometimes it can feel a little bit like using the letter H. Make the sound. Can you make just breathe, go feel that diaphragm moving? All right, so when you laugh, though, often you use your vocal cords, too. So it's not just the H sound. You have a vowel after it. So you might go ah, or e, or o, or oo. So let's see if we can do it in rhythm all together. I want to do let's do a H-ah sound. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Ha, ha, ha. But there's not just ha's, there's also he's. So let's try that. He. And then if you've ever met a guy named Santa Claus, you'll know that there's also ho, ho, ho. And then if you really start laughing, you might even get a little hoo, hoo, hoo. Now if you do a really big guffaw, a really big laugh to get those organs moving, get that oxygen working, you might find that you end up starting on one of those vowels and then going to another one. You might start with a ha and end up on a he. So let's try that. We're gonna go ha ha ha. Wait, let's see, what should we do? Ha 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 he. Can we do that on the count of 3? 1, 2, 3. Ha 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 he. Or you might start with a he and go to a ho. He ho ho. Or start with a ho and go to a hoo. Ho 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 ho. Now, this doing it on rhythm might feel a little stifled, but I'm wondering if you can try to go, start with the ha's and go to the he's and then the ho's and the who's and then go through all of them. Can you try that? And make it feel as natural as it can be. So we'll go 1, 2, 3. Now, an interesting fact I learned when I was studying about laughing is that even though sometimes we start with a ha and go to a ho, or start with a ho and go to a ha, or go to a he, or something like that, we never go back and forth between two. it never works like that. We never go, ha ho, ha ho. Try it for a minute and just feel how weird it sounds. Ha ho, ha ho. It doesn't sound like laughing anymore. It sounds like you're having a fit or something. So I thought that was interesting. But some of these, if we do that big laugh that goes ha all the way down to ho, you know, sometimes if someone says something, our body needs to get ready for the laugh. Do you ever laugh and at the beginning of it, you don't start with the H, but you start with a ah? You can even raise your arms when you do it. Sometimes people start with a W in the ah. They go, wah, and then they do the laugh. Can you do that big, long laugh with me, but start with the W? Go on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Are you feeling some of those benefits now? Okay, so one more laugh. I want to put the cherry on top of this laugh sundae. So I love it when someone laughs so hard that they snort. So don't hurt yourself, but try to start with that ah. You go up, ah, and then when you laugh, you go all the way down to the ooh, and when you get to the ooh, just do a go. Can you do that with me? All right, so on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Ah! And as you may notice, when people start laughing, laughter is contagious, so you just keep doing it. So you don't need a joke to laugh. You can just laugh. Y'all are having so much fun up here. But can you stop the chatting just for a moment so I can say one last thing, because I had one thing I wanted to say to sum it up. Because as Unitarian Universalists, I want to point out that I recognize that humor is not necessarily universal. And I think we should honor and respect all paths in the free and responsible search for a good laugh. So thank you for laughing with me today. And if you're coming downstairs with me, can we walk? Can you stay behind me as we walk down there so I can be the first one that makes it downstairs? I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
That was fun. The light of our chalice would soon flicker and die without the fuel that nourishes its flame. Just as this flame cannot burn without fuel, this religious community cannot survive or thrive without the financial and personal support of its members and friends, the fuel that keeps the flame of our liberal religious faith alive and ignites the shared mission of this fellowship. Let us now give freely and generously in offering to sustain and strengthen our religious community, a community of memory, hope, faith, and love. For we are the keepers of the flame that burns for justice, the dream of beloved community, and a vision of a world made whole. The gifts of this congregation will be most gratefully received.
As many of you know, the madrigal emerged as a musical form in the Italian Renaissance and was more or less a function of the movement of courtly love, in which the verse described the wonderful attributes of the desired lady and followed with a phrase of fa la 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 la. We are pleased to present to you today a madrigal written by the only forgotten son of Johann Sebastian Bach, P.D.Q. Bach, written in the style of the Italian Renaissance madrigal, the My Bonnie Lass, She Smileth. This is My Bonnie Lass, She Smelleth. My bonny lass, she smelleth, making the flowers jealous. My bonny lass dismayeth me, all that she doth sayeth. My bonny lass, she looketh like a jewel, and soundeth like a mule. My bonny lass, she walketh like a doe, and talketh like a crow. My bonny lass liketh to dance a lot.
Liketh to dance a lot.
She's Guinevere and I'm Sir Lancelot.
And I'm Sir Lancelot.
Fa la 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 la. Fa la 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 la. Hey! Fa la 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 la. Fa la 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 la. Fa la 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 la. My bonny lass, I need not flatter. What she doth not have doth not matter. Ooh la 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 My bonny lass is so fine, oh, if she only were mine. My bonny lass would be nice, yea, even at twice the price. Fa la 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 la, fa la la la, fa la 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 la. Fa la 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 la, fa la 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 la, fa la 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 la, fa la la la, fa la 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 la, fa la la la, fa la 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 la, fa la la la, fa la 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 la, shiroo bap boop bap bap boop bap bap bap, wow, woo, ah, fa la la, fa la 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 la, fa la 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 la, fa la la la.
It is our custom in this congregation to share the joys and the sorrows that shape our lives, honoring each one with the lighting of a candle. We recognize that life is not always easy and that we all have moments of celebration and struggle. By sharing these experiences with one another, we can support and uplift each other as we navigate the significant events of our lives. The first is from Jeanette and Marshall Wynn. Please light a candle in celebration of the life of one of our longtime friends, Bill Hubecka. Bill was a high school band colleague who grew up in a Church of Christ, but became Director of Religious Education of the Spartanburg UU Church. He was a retired U.S. Army captain and teacher at Shape American High School in Mons, Belgium. He sang with the Turtle Creek Chorale while living in Dallas, Texas. He was a devoted father and a single parent of his 3 children who adored him. In remembrance of Fran Dew, who served as our interim minister between Reverend Jennifer Slade and Reverend Jeffrey Lamb. She was insightful, compassionate, and had a great sense of humor. She passed away last week at her home in Michigan, and this is from Diane Ship. From Candy Kern. I go for genetic testing on August 16th to find out if I have a condition, not osteoporosis, that is causing my bones to become brittle and to break down. Currently, my right femur and femoral head is necrotic. Please send prayers and positive energy to help me find some answers and solutions. Thursday evening's Goof Artist Reception was so much fun and especially meaningful to share enthusiasm with everyone who attended. We all appreciated the oohs and ahs. Thank you, Stephen, for your dedication to filling our Northrex with creative energy. And that's anonymous. Yeah. And from Laura and Mary Christenbury. A candle of sorrow for Keisha Holt on the loss of her son, Justice Wyatt Holt. Mary and I have known Wyatt since they were babies in the infant room together at daycare. Rest in peace. And finally, a candle of joy from Priscilla Phillips. I just got home from a week of fun and fellowship and first and friends with hundreds of UUs at SUSI, the Southwest UU Summer Institute, still on a very high high. And we will light a final candle representing all the joys and sorrows present in our hearts that remain unspoken. We will now observe a brief moment of silence.
And now, I am delighted to introduce Susan Smith from the Cafe and Then Some, our local dinner theater and comedy club, if you will. We would meet at my father's restaurant, Dempsey's, and then go around the corner and catch a show. Like, who can forget the Real Housewives of Oconee County or Obama Mia? What's the current show, Susan?
It's called White Trash Lotus.
Yeah, White Trash Lotus. If you've seen White Lotus, you'll get it. So, as we gather for today's service, let's welcome Susan. She embodies the joy and laughter that brings us all together. And now I give you Susan Leigh Smith.
Y'all have, as my friend used to work at the cafe said, y'all have gooped me. I'm surrounded by images and feelings of some folks that I didn't mean to talk about. One is Glenn Howerton, whose art is in the window. He was Bill's very favorite professor at Furman. And I guess a lot of y'all know Glenn and Hilda. And it just feels so good to be where his stuff is. It's awesome. Thank you for that. Talking about the losses, which is certainly not what I meant to talk about, but seeing Garnet made me think of Yvonne and how much we miss her. Ted Bruce passed away in June. I don't know if all y'all know that or not. Oh, no, we miss him. Don Shabke was a big part of the early part of it, and then some, and I'm sure y'all know him. And it seemed like there was somebody else, but I'm sure I'll get to it at an inopportune time. But I feel their presence here, and I thank y'all for kind of lighting that candle for me. Thank you so much. I'm Susan. I'm glad to be here. I'm out of my element. I usually speak with a wig. It's kind of weird to not, but I thought I would accept your kind invitation and push myself a little bit. Not too much, don't worry. I'm from Greenville. I've lived here my entire life. I went all the way to Clemson to school. much to my parents' chagrin. They were big Furman people. Bill and I, my husband, have owned the cafe since 1983, which makes us older than the man upstairs. But I am excited to have a chance to kind of remember some things about my journey and how I came to be in this place, as well as Meredy and other folks who have joined in that trip along the way. We can all agree that laughter is a gift, one of the greatest gifts, in my opinion. And we've talked about the scientific benefits. It lightens the heart, it lifts the spirit, and they're less tangible results as well, I think. It's a great tool for community awareness, political change, and even social justice in some cases, hopefully, anyway. I've been thinking about the whole 40, 50 years, however long it has been, and the changes that you can see in an audience over that period of time. I think maybe it's a very rare opportunity to see, but back in the day, the things that were taboo, the LGBTQ stuff, was much more to people 40 years ago in terms of choosing a topic to, be light with. And it's nothing these days, so except for maybe two or three people who go a sourpuss. But all in all, it's definitely a different. That's one thing that's different. We've been performing skits and song parodies for a long time. We formed in 1977. Don Shabke was the other one. That's the other one. I'm sure y'all knew him as well. He was in the very first And Then Some show. I'm not sure if people knew that or not. 5 years later is when we opened the cafe. The first one was in the 77, 2 years at the Chandler's Restaurant, which is kind of across from where Tsunami is now on East North Street. And then at the Red Baron, some of you may remember those 2 years, and then the cafe in 83. That's a lot of stuff, a lot of words, a lot of laughter on stage and off. Ted's cremation remains are in a box backstage right now. And so we go knock on and say, wake up, wake up, wake up. So we do 3 shows a week. That's 150 times per year, 35 years. It's a lot of shows, So I'd like to share a little bit about my journey into how all that mess came to be. I was born into a laughing family. I'm the oldest of 5 kids, which means I laughed and tormented them, basically. My parents were from the Oconee area and they went to Furman. It's a typical white girl suburb story. The World War II pulled my parents out of the mountains. The GI Bill paid for him to go to Furman. And then the rest of us have lived here ever since. I was probably most formed. Did Deborah come last week before, Deborah Richardson? Yeah. She was my Girl Scout buddy. So that gives you a little idea as to the soup in which I was formed. Girl Scouts, the Methodist Church, and suburbs, kind of. It just sums all that kind of those times up. I lost my place here. Bill and I got married in 1978. I'm the stepmother to 3 wonderful boys and the personal mother to a person who started as a daughter, you may know, and is now a man. They are a trans person. He's a trans person. This is maybe too much information, but he kept his uterus and had a baby. And when that was happening, I made a shirt and it said, "Man with a uterus, nothing to see, move along." So that child is now 2. Her name is Hazel, and they live in Atlanta, and I'm so happy to be close to them. They were in Chicago, yeah. All those guys they're quick to laugh. There are 2 of them of the 4 that do laugh like girls. So. Bill's family is from Greenville as well. He came home from the hospital to the Davenport apartments. His mother was living with her parents while the dad was over in the Pacific. And fun fact is that his maternal great-grandfather was the first chief of police to be killed in the line of duty in Greenville County. Stop it! Crazy talk! I know. So our roots are deep, very, very, very deep. People say, trying to give a compliment, well, when are you going to move off to New York or LA or somewhere like that? And I just, no, I'm not going anywhere. I don't know anything about anywhere else. And I have a feeling I'd just be trying to earn enough money to come back home, so let's see. Like I said, my parents are from they're mountain people from the Oconee area, and so storytelling is a huge piece of their reality. Then, of course, I both went to Furman. My mother was at the zoo. Do y'all know that the women's college at Furman was called the zoo up until they moved from downtown to where they are now? And the cafe shares a wall with what used to be Sam's Lunch. It was a hot dog place. And so they all, when they had liver at the zoo for, I snorted. When they had liver for lunch at the zoo, they would all leave the cafeteria and go to Sam's Lunch, which is right adjacent to the cafe. And I always tickle with the kind of serendipitous nature of the fact that we're still so much in the very same place that we have been for so long. I've always loved music and dancing. I loved the song and the madrigals, y'all. Ted would so love the meeting. If y'all knew Ted, you would know that he would be dancing with that. Thank you so much for that. I loved to dance as a little kid, and I loved show tunes. I would they had South Pacific and My Fair Lady on those big records, and so I would play them. And the house had a fireplace that faced a double window with drapes that would pull like this. So I would put on the soundtrack and stand to the drapes and run to the hearth and sing all the albums of There Is Nothing Like a Dame, all the way through Sound of Music and My Fair Lady. So I've always been a little bit of a ham in that respect. My first performing experience happened in like church camp and YWCA camp and Girl Scout camp. The skit nights were my very first love of sketch and song parodies experiences. Another person I wanted to ask you about was Joe Norwood. Do y'all remember? Yeah. Well, guess what, y'all? He was my Sunday school teacher. Yeah, at the Methodist Church. So that may explain a lot about both of us. I don't know. Laughing was always a big part of school. Deborah and our friends were on the newspaper in high school at Wade Hampton, and we couldn't do anything without laughing. I'm sure people thought we were high all the time because there was no rhyme nor reason, but a lot of giggles. Followed that by Clemson. The reason I chose Clemson, a true story, was it was the shortest line. I mean, I went to Clemson because my boyfriend went there, for one thing, as enlightened 18-year-old. And I chose my major because it was the shortest line at freshman orientation. Back when you had to stand in the line. There was no theater degree at Clemson. There was a minor, but we were all just desperate to be activists, and there was nothing that you could really, the war was over by that time, and we were so disappointed to be in a position to protest. What? We had nothing. So we did organize a protest so that there would be a real theater built at Clemson, because at that time we were doing Shakespeare and Oscar Wilde in a lecture hall It was not pretty. So we got our petition and we did our bit, and a mere 25 years later, there was the Brooks Center at Clemson. Now I got to be quick because they got to go watch that basketball. I've went on and on about all this stuff because those experiences are what formed my sense of humor and my sense of self. And I think the same kinds of experiences were formative for the other folks that we hooked up with in 1977. It was kind of the Goldilocks effect, in the right time, the right things, the right place. And I don't think it could really happen again, Meredy knows. But it was definitely an impressive outcome of the kind of merging of all those situations. The first was, of course, the time. It was 1977, and Saturday Night Live was brand new. It was so new and so radical that Your Friend 4 would not show the first season in Greenville. You had to drive to Columbia if you wanted to watch it on television. I had met Ted and Ron Wisnant and Don Borders. Don was my drama teacher at school, and that's how we all came together. Those three were the primary folks that formed the Flick Theater. I don't know if y'all remember that place. It was ahead of its time, and I was talking to Lynn and Lynn about that time. The warehouse was new. People gathered at the Flick. We had a newspaper. Those days are gone. People met at Zorba's, the newspaper people did, and it was really an exciting time and much more forward-thinking than it is today. I feel like, I don't know if y'all did that, like the last 50 years just didn't happen. They're just not there. It didn't happen. So anyway, that was the time was right. The idea was inspired by the Peter Cook and Dudley Moore Beyond the Fringe is a piece they did back in the day. So the first show was called Beyond the Fringe and Then Some, and the first act was some folks doing Beyond the Fringe pieces, and then the second act was original material. So that's where the and then some part came from. The second issue was the place. Like we had a friend who had a sandwich shop on East North Street across from where Tsunami is now. And then we went to the Red Baron after that. And like I said, in May of '83, Bill's dad, Doug Smith, who is a very generous benefactor, and we'll just call it sucker, he's gone, we can call it. He was very kind and generous and helped us through a lot of hard times. But we all had the common experiences and common values. We seemed to have compatible senses of humor. My grandmother called it funny bone. We had our funny bone got tickled by the same things. But Tina Fey says that things are funny because they're true. And I think that really is the key, especially when you're looking at political stuff. And we were able, oddly enough, to agree on what was true, unlike some people today. Y'all familiar with the Bill Moyer's book, Conversations? They had the time up there earlier. I'm 71 years old. I can't see that. Y'all keep me on what time it is. All right? Okay, I'll hurry, I promise. But in his book, Conversations, he relays conversations with a lot of famous people. And the first one in the book I was looking at is Jon Stewart. And the quote is, "Truth is best digested when marinated in humor." And you can say so many things in a humorous intent that you can't say with a straight face. A lot of things you can't say with a straight face. The first time I realized that we were really kind of onto something was in 1977 when Carol Campbell was running against Max Heller for Congress. That was a long time ago.
but we had they had hired, Lee Atwater had hired a spoiler, Don Sprouse, to say the things. You remember? Yeah. And Bill played Don Sprouse, and he talked about how the foibles of Mac's, character and religion and all such as that. And it can't represent the 4th district. No. And so Bill saying, "It's Don Sprouse, Titty Weckertovich, anytime they know, we'll come and get you." So it was only through humor that we were able to call those folks out, and it started a big thread that we followed for a long time. The other issue is what makes comedy a comedy show is characters. And I think the queen of that was Yvonne. Nobody did it better than she. Absolutely not. We miss her so very, very much. We followed social and community issues through character. We say wig equals character, so that's our approach to the theater. The east side, the west side with the soccer moms, and of course the almighty Augusta Roadies. And everything's better on Augusta Road. If it's not there, we don't need it. No, One time this lady says, "I know who you're doing. You're doing me." And I well, yeah. I didn't tell her this, but if your life is a stereotype, honey, I can't help it. Greenville has changed so much in the last 40 years. It's just mind-blowing. It's changed a lot in the last 20 minutes, but especially in the last 40 years. And though that also has been a good topic, urban revitalization and this aggressive gentrification has been. Billy Mitchell he's gone too. Everybody I talk about is dead, my Lord. But that was the beginning, I think, of the content for the cafe. Bill had put up a sign that said "Free Billy Mitchell" just because it was, remember? Yeah, oh my God, bless him. But those have been obvious things. All it takes is a curious mind and a love for the absurd, and you're never at a loss for material. People ask that, and I say, well, you got a Costco flyer at your house? Because the one I saw had, A, you can get Ozempic there now. Did you know that? At Costco. And B, they got him an Armageddon bucket, y'all. It's $80. It's 250 freeze-dried meals. I can't even say it with a straight face. With a shelf life of 25 years. So, it's all there. All you got to do is look around. I used to say, read the newspaper, but you can't do that anymore. No, USA Today is not very funny. I've had a real good time thinking about the past. It's been very present on my mind, what with Ted passing. And I appreciate that opportunity to do that with y'all today. A lot of people have a lot to say about laughter, about comedy. I thought it was Ben Franklin or maybe Shakespeare that said a merry heart is the best medicine, but my mama, who's 98 in next month, did I tell y'all? Yeah. She said, nope, it's Proverbs. And she was right. It says, a merry heart doeth like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. I thought, whoa! Better start laughing. In my mind, Charlie Chaplin said it best. A day without laughter is one wasted. So let's get busy, y'all. Come on. Thank you. Y'all do okay?
Please join me by saying the words in your order of service as we extinguish the chalice. We extinguish the flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
That'll fall down. A sense of humor is needed armor. Joy in one's heart and some laughter on one's lips is a sign that a person, deep down, has a pretty good grasp of life. Those are words from Hugh Sidey, an American White House correspondent and journalist. Amen. Now go in peace, return in love, and blessed be. We're doing When I'm 64 because in June I turned 64, and I said, I gotta learn this song. So enjoy.
When I am older, losing my hair, many years from now, will you still be sending me a Valentine? Birthday greetings, bottle of wine. If I've been out till 2:45, would you lock the door? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? You'll be older too. If you say the word, I could stay with you. Be mending a fuse when your lights are down. Keeping it to sweater by the fireside. Sunday morning, go for a ride. Digging in the garden, digging in the weeds. Who could ask for more? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? Every summer we can land a cottage on the Isle of Wight if it's not too dear. We shall scrimp and say, children on your knee. Vera, Chuck, and Dave. Drop me a postcard, drop me a line, stating points of view. Indicate precisely what you mean to say. You're sincerely wasting away. Give me your answer, fill in a form. Mine forevermore. Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? Let's sing Happy Birthday to Ward. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ward. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much.
Ward does a lot here at Goof. Thank you, Ward. We love you.
Now join us for coffee and fellowship in the hall.